crafters, and welcome back. My name is Deepa from DeeZinesByD, and I have another Scrappy Tails video for you. So today I'm actually going to be showing you this beautiful rainbow butterfly floral wreath card. As you can see, these butterflies really steal the show, and that was the point of this card. I wanted those butterflies to really stick out. So let's take a look at what we're using. We're using the spring floral wreath here. This is a die set, and we're mainly going to be using like a few elements for the florals and the wreath portion. Then we've also got the spread your wings stamp and die set. Now you can see if you compare it to the heartfelt wing set, the butterflies are just a bit too large to actually fit on this wreath. So that's why I opted for the spread your wings set, because as you see, there's 3 large butterflies, but there's also 3 smaller ones. And I love that there's that variation in size, so you can use them for anything. So let's go ahead and get started. I am taking a piece of cardstock. So this is just half of an 8.5 by 11 sized white cardstock. And I'm placing my butterflies on here. The reason why I wanted to use a larger piece of cardstock is because I'm going to cut out 6 of these. And what I want to do is stamp them on the bottom here. And then what I'll do is I'll flip the cardstock to stamp the other 3 without having to move my stamp. So it just makes it easier. Now I'm stamping them out with some Memento Tuxedo Black because I will be doing some Copic coloring. Well, actually I'm going to use another alcohol marker, but we'll get to that in a minute. And I did double stamp to get a nice crisp image to ensure that these butterflies really stand out. Now, you could use metallic embossing powders if you wanted to stamp out and emboss these outlines, but I wanted the black because I want the vibrant colors that I'm going to use to color them in to stand out. Now, I'm using my Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. These are actually really cool because they have 3 colors in one. So you see I have 3 marker tips on this one marker, and you have a dark tone, a mid-tone, and then a lighter tone. And each of the markers are called a blend, and that's because we have those 3 tones. This just makes it so much easier for me to just pick up color and just go with it. With my Copics, I kind of have to search through the colors that I want. Kind of, if I don't have swatches, I have to kind of put down the color, make sure that they blend nicely, and so on and so forth. With these, all of that guesswork and everything is kind of taken out of it, so I can just kind of take my markers and color. Now, I do want to mention that there are some blends that have like a really light tone, or the color is, for example, there's a hydrangea blend, and that blend has a bit more of a pinkish hue to it. So you might want to do some swatches just to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting from these markers. So for the first butterfly, I used the dark red blend. I'm moving on to burnt orange blend. For the yellow, I'm going to be using gold yellow blend. For the green is jade green blend. Blue is going to be true blue blend. And the last color, the purple, is going to be purple blend. So within this box of markers, there are like 2 sets of these. So you've got like the one that I have are more of the standard or original colors. And then there's a darker box which has extended colors so that you can, have a bit more variation in the colors you have. Now, the best part about this is, as I said, you get the 3-in-1, the thought is taken out of picking your colors, but you can mix and match between the markers. So, I mean, if you did want to work on your coloring like you would do your Copic coloring, you can use this in that same way as well. Another thing to keep in mind with these markers is there is like a brush tip, which is the one that I have, and then there's also a bullet tip that you could buy too. So if you are looking into these, there's that option there as well. Now, and I guess that would be the question because the Copic markers have 2 tips to it. So that's the answer. Now, I'm not doing anything extremely fancy in my coloring. I'm just kind of concentrating the darkest color towards the center of the butterfly or where the body would be, and then making it a bit lighter as I go outwards. In the red butterfly, it's kind of hard to see that because it is a dark red blend. The lightest color is not that light, but in the rest of the butterflies you will see this. And I did also try to make the actual lines within the detail of the butterfly wings a bit darker as well, because if you look at the butterfly wings, that tends to be what it is. I mean, around the little lines and those details it's darker, and as you move in towards the center of that little portion or that outline, it's more vibrant. Now, I tried to speed up this section of the video as much as I could because it's just plain coloring, as I mentioned, nothing fancy. So if you wanted to, you could fast forward a little bit to get to the rest of the card design. But yeah, for now, we just got a little bit more of the coloring. Now that I have a second, it seems like in every video I have to mention I'm sorry for my voice. I know I sound a bit stuffy. I am just like, I'm getting it. Like the last few weeks, I actually had COVID. So I'm just getting over it and getting my energy back. But it's been a long haul, and it's like it seems to come and go very often for me. So, I'm very sorry about my voice. You'll notice that the amount of videos that I have are a little less lately because of that, and I might just start adding some music to it. So, let me know in the comments, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the commentary or the music? And I'll try to oblige. Okay, so back to the card, I'm going to go ahead and add the coordinating dies. Now, I'm going to have to do this twice because these are doubles and I only have 3 of these dies. So I'll cut out the first 3 and then the second 3, and you can see they all cut out gorgeously. Now, moving on to our wreath, let's go ahead and cut out the actual wreath and the detail pieces. Now, that wreath portion, I want to make sure that, I'm making clear that I'm making the wreath portion monochromatic. I'm making it a bit more plain, still jazzy because I'm using the silver cardstock, but a bit more plain so that those rainbow butterflies stand out on the wreath. So I've cut out the main wreath using just plain old silver cardstock. For the roses, you only have to cut these out twice. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I keep all of those together so it's easier cutting. I cut out the roses from some charcoal matte cardstock. So this is from Sizzix. They have like a whole pack of like a different types of specialty cardstock in different colors. So this was the charcoal. There's also silver, gold, and rose gold. And then I also cut out the little leafy details in silver glitter cardstock. Now for my card base, all I did was fold an 8.5 by 11 white piece of cardstock in half. If you want to conserve your cardstock, I would cut this to about 6 by 6 inches and then fold it in half. Create a 6 by 6 inch cardstock. Actually, no, I don't think you need 6. I think 5 is good. 5 by 5 inch cardstock card base, white cardstock card base. And that means you'd need a 10 inch by 5 inch piece of cardstock folded in half. Now, as you can see, I'm adding the wreath here. I'm cutting off the excess so I can use that later on. But I'm adding the wreath on a flat edge right along the fold with a little bit of it hanging off. I put it through my die cutting machine back and forth, I think 3 times, just to make sure I'm cutting through the 2 layers of cardstock. And when I pull this wreath off, please keep in mind it is very detailed in certain areas, so you're going to have to spend a bit of time kind of releasing the cut away from the negative piece. I did a lot of that off camera, and once I was done, you can see I've got this wreath shaped card. Now I can go ahead and put on the silver wreath detail portion that we cut out, and it's going to fit on there perfectly. The way that this is made is it cuts out that kind of shadow, but it keeps the center portion. Now the actual detailed wreath bit, it actually butts right up against the edge, so there's no outline at all. So it's going to fit on there perfectly. Now, if you take a look at this wreath, it's actually, if you cut it in half, it's a mirror image. So when you're putting it together, I like to keep that in mind because it makes it easier to fit all the pieces on. So if I know how to do one half, I know exactly how to do the second half. Now I'm just erasing a bit of glue there with my glue eraser, my rubber glue eraser there, which always comes in handy. I think it's a Xyron eraser. So now that I've got that wreath on there, I can go ahead and add the other silver detail elements that, again, are monochromatic, but it just gives it a nice flair. I love the shine and the glitter, and I mean, if you've tuned into my videos before, you know I just go crazy with all of the shine and the embellishments and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so I think I added 4 of those glitter fronds. Now for the roses, you actually only have 10 roses on here, and there are 6 roses that are included in the pack, and I cut those out twice. So I have 2 extra roses, which I could, if I wanted to, could have placed them on the inside of the card for a bit of extra pizzazz and to have the design be carried on the inside of the card. I think I actually forgot to do that, but that's definitely something I would do in the future if I'm going to send this out. So now I'm just basically attaching these, and you can see that the charcoal cardstock. It's still got that gray tone, but because it has a different hue or tone to it, it stands out separate from the rest of the wreath. But when you look at it all together with the butterflies, it's still going to pale in comparison to the vibrant color of the butterflies. So that's really, like I keep saying it, but that's what I'm going for here. I want that wreath to look really nice, but I want those butterflies to be the star of the show. So that was the main concept of this card. Now, once I have all my roses down, I do add a couple extra of those fronds behind the roses in different areas where it doesn't line up with the outline image, but that's okay. It's just a little bit of extra pizzazz. So now I'm going to go ahead and stamp out my sentiment. Now I'm stamping out the Mother's Day sentiment, and that is coming up fairly soon. I think it's this weekend, isn't it? Oh, I should really check out exactly when it is, but it's coming. So I've stamped that out in some black VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I am cutting it out with the coordinating die. And before I assemble my butterflies on my wreath, I'm going to make sure I've checked exactly where the fold opens here, and I'm going to place that in the center of the wreath. Now I can go ahead and grab my butterflies, and using the acronym Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, I'll go ahead and place those rainbow butterflies around the wreath. So now that I've kind of placed them out exactly where I think I want to put them, I'll go ahead and add them with some foam adhesive. And I'm actually just kind of pulling up the wings a little to give it a bit more dimension so they look a little more realistic. And they have that flow of the wings kind of fluttering to them. So I'll go ahead and just attach these every which way that I want them. And that'll basically be the card. And then, of course, you know, as usual, I have to add some embellishments. Now, I like these sideways butterflies because on this wreath, I've tried my best to try and kind of have them, you know, flying like right near a flower. Because, you know, when you see the butterflies flying sideways like that, they're usually trying to get to something, right? And as I mentioned, it's embellishment time. So I've got these silver pearls here, and they shine. They're very shiny. They're not like a matte version, and I'm just going to add a few here to the center. Now, I normally would go overboard with these and add a whole bunch. I think I just added 5, which is it's a miracle for me to only add 5 of those, but I made up for it. I went and I got some diamond stickles, and this is gorgeous. So anytime you want to add just clear AB kind of iridescent shine to your die cuts, this is where I go. So I've got my diamond stickles. I think I've got about 5 bottles of them, and I'm just putting it all along the wings and towards the center of the butterflies. And that wraps up my Scrappy Tails rainbow butterfly wreath card for you today. So I hope you've been inspired to create something similar yourself. As always, I've got the links for all of these products linked within my blog, which is linked in the description below. Go ahead and check out the Scrappy Tails store, which is also linked in the description below for these products. And if you liked my video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys again next time. Have a great day. Bye.